David, can you do me a favor? Can you
Mm-hmm.
please also activate the transcript? Let me do that. I was able to see it. Okay. All right. So let me go to the next. We're recording at the moment. So once again, welcome. Let me go to the next slide. So the town hall ground rules, we'll ask all participants to mute their microphones so that we can get the message across and understand each other. Panelists will take questions after the presentation. Be respectful while communicating through your microphone and chat. If you would like to ask a question, please raise your hand and the moderator will call your name and ask you to mute yourself and state your question. If you would like to ask a question and don't want to use your microphone, you could post your question in the chat after the presentation are completed. And the moderator will ask you to the panelists on your behalf. Please keep in mind that all participants can see the text in the chat, and we urge you not to share personal information publicly, as other students will see your information. Moderators of the town hall reserve the right to remove participants who do not abide by these rules. The agenda of this town hall. We already established the town hall rules. We will introduce next the panelists. We're going to go over what credit and no credit means. What is the financial aid implication? The implication also for those preclinical students and how to obtain into the credit no credit. And we will have a Q&A session at the end of the presentations. Our panel, among our panelists, we have Gail Bacharet, Director of Student Financial Services, Phil Gimber, Chair of the Health Science Department, Vanessa Gonzalez Figueroa, Director of Student Advisement Services, Daniel Diaz, Director of International Student Services, Matthew Eckhoff, Director of ASAP, Julian Salazar, Director of College Discovery, and Burhan Siddiqui, Director of the Registrar Office. And we will begin now with the presentation from Student Advisement Services, Vanessa Gonzalez.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope that you're all doing well. So as Dean De Los Santos mentioned, I am the Director for Student Advising Services, Vanessa Gonzalez Figueroa. And so just top 5 for students, the quick of what you really need to know is that credit, no credit is the student's choice. It is your choice to decide if you want to opt in into this, into the grade change. So to opt in, you have 20 business days. And so the deadline for LaGuardia students is January 24th, 2021 for session 1. Credit or no credit could be applied for one, some, all, or none of your classes for fall 2020. So you could select it for one class, but then keep the grades for the other, as an example. Excluded courses from the credit, no credit are students who are in the clinical phase of health science, and more of that could be shared by the chair, Philip Gimber, but the listing of the courses are there. Before you decide if you want to opt in, you need to speak to an advisor so that they can share any implications, GPA, future admissions to programs, not just for the health sciences, but overall for graduate schools. And then lastly, once you opt in, it's final. There's no changes to the decision process. Everything is final. Next slide, Ramon, or am I able to?
Go ahead.
Oh, perfect. The timeline, so the withdrawal period has already passed. If you decided to opt for a W, you cannot change it to a credit or no credit. The grades are due by faculty on December 22nd, and the opt-in process will begin on the 23rd. Sorry, guys, my children are here for the snow day, so you'll hear them in the background. And then, so the opt-in begins on December 23rd, the day before Christmas Eve, and then it continues for almost 1 month, and it's because of the holidays, but it's exactly 20 business days. And like I shared, the decision of whether you opt in will be final. That is it regarding the timeline and just general 5 things that you need to know. I'll be here to answer any questions after the presentation is done.
Thank you, Vanessa. And now I will introduce you to the Director of the Student Financial Services, Dr. Gail Bacharet.
Thank you, Ramon. So
Academic progress is treated differently under federal and state guidelines. So this slide shows under federal aid, and when I say federal aid, we're talking about Pell, work study, direct student loans, supplemental educational opportunity grants. So these programs, under the Federal CARES Act for spring 20, we excluded all students who opted in for the credit, non-credit treatment for their courses. So students who receive federal aid are required to successfully complete courses within a specified period of time with a determined GPA and at a pace based on the length of their academic program. And so because this was done in spring 20, because of COVID, it has been extended to fall 20. So students will not need to submit a financial aid appeal in order to be considered, to exclude the credit, no credit calculation. So there's no change there in terms of federal aid for our students. Next slide. Under the state aid programs, and state aid refers to the tuition assistance program, such as TAP, the New York State Part-Time Scholarship, the Excelsior programs. New York State has not yet determined that students certified by the college for fall 20 will not suffer negative consequences regarding their current or future awards. So we are still waiting to hear from New York State regarding whether they will extend the credit, no credit policy to the fall 20 semester. When we have that information, we will share it with students via email.
Thank you, Gail. And Gail will be here with us also then in case that anybody have any questions regarding financial aid. The next person here is the chair of the Health Science Department, Dr. Phil Gimber.
Hi, everybody. How are you? My name is Phil Gimber. I'm in charge of the health science programs. So for those of you who are either, some of you might be a nursing student, but most of you would be under the preclinical phase, we call it, where you're thinking about applying to like maybe RN or PN program. You do have that option, right, to take a credit or no credit. However, we really strongly suggest you take your letter grade because, for example, if you got a B and you take the credit grade, it's going to count as a C. And that would actually lower your chances, right? So we have, because we have to count these as something for rankings and for timeframes for students. So the fairest way we came up with this is if you take a credit grade, it's a C. And that will also be averaged again. So if you even take the course again, let's say you got a credit grade and then you got an A, it averages to a B, right, with those two grades. If you take a no credit, which means you failed the course, it does count technically as an F. However, if you repeat it, we will use the repeat grade. And you do have to repeat no credit grades anyway. So that, let me just make sure that covers the main bullet points. Students who accept a no credit, yeah. And then of course, if you're wondering how this affects financial aid, everybody's financial aid is different. You really have to look at the financial aid office and make sure how this impacts if you take a credit or no credit. And then you also saw, I don't know if this was on these bullets, but if somebody in here is a clinical student, if you're actually in the nursing program right now and you're like going to the hospital, you can't take the no credit or credit. That's excluded. And the reason is there has to be a time frame from starting the clinical phase to ending, and we can't have students taking 3-4 years to do it. It's just not allowed by the license boards. So that is basically it for me.
Thank you, Phil. Now, the director of the registrar office, Berhan Siddiqui, is going to explain how students can opt in.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Berhan Siddiqui, and I'm the director in the registrar's office. So the opt-in process is pretty simple. You will have to log into your CUNY first, go to Student Center page, and as soon as you land on a Student Center page, you will see the screen that you're seeing right here on your screens. Right on your left-hand side, you will see the option says view my grades or view grades. When you click on that option, it will take you to another screen where you will see your grades posted. And with the grades posted, you will have a drop-down menu with each grade to select credit or no credit. But remember, A and A minus are not part of credit, no credit. So A or A minus will be there, but they will be grayed out, so you cannot opt in. You will be able to opt in from B plus to a D minus grade, earned grade. Or you will be able to opt in for an F grade to an NC grade. So you will have those options available to you. When you select a grade for credit or no credit, you will be prompted with a warning whether you want to opt in or not. You will have to click OK or yes in that message. Once you do that, you will again be given a warning that your decision is final. It cannot be reversed. So make sure before you go and select a grade for credit or no credit to opt in that you have consulted with an advisor and have covered all the grounds, whether it will impact you for now in your program or for moving forward in the future for your transfer. So just make sure that you do all your research and have all your answers before you actually go in and opt in, because you have 31 days to do this from December 23rd. That's a pretty good time. The other colleges are not providing this much time to their students, but we are providing you 31 days to make a decision and select the option to opt in or not opt in. So there is plenty of time. Do not rush your decision. Make sure you do your research and have all your answers before you select this option, because the option is not going anywhere until 31 days, right? Now, is it like Dr. Philip Gimber mentioned something about the health science program? There are clinical courses, and the courses are listed actually on our website, and Dr. Ramon is going to share a link with you so you can see more details. And a lot of your questions will be answered on that website because we have a Q&A there. You will be able to find a lot of your questions answered there. But if you even have any questions, we have contact information on the website for the advisement and for the registrar. You can always send us your question and we'll be able to answer your questions here as well. But here is what I would say to sum it up. If you're in a health science program, you're in the candidacy phase, you're taking candidacy courses right now, your grade is higher than C. Listen to this carefully. If your grade is higher than C, do not opt in. It doesn't work. If your grade is lower than C, yes, go ahead and opt in. If your grade is an F, do not even think, opt in. If you have an F, don't think, opt in. Don't even ask anyone. If you have an F, opt in. I'm keep repeating. If you have an F, opt in for NC grade. Don't even ask anyone, opt in. But if your grade is higher than C, it does not worth to opt in for a credit grade, especially if you're in health science programs or you're going into health science program. Because it will, if you retake the credit grade later on, it's going to average out, like Dr. Phil mentioned early on. Your grade is C, you're opting in, later on you're retaking the course, you're earning an A and C will average out to a B. If you earn a B later on, B and C will average out to C. It doesn't worth doing it. So do your research, ask an advisor before you do that. But the opt-in process is pretty simple. You go into CUNY first, go to Student Center, click on View My Grades or View Grades, and it will take you to the opt-in process. I think that's about it, and we will be able to answer any specific questions in regards to opt-in or the process later on in the Q&A.
Thank you very much, Berhan. I'm going to stop sharing right now the screen so that I can see uh, whoever want to raise their hand for any questions, and so that I can see them as well. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and I'm going to share again some of the links and the contact information of all the panelists before we conclude the session. So if anybody has any question and would like to pose the question to the panelists, please raise your hand and we will call your name. Or with the same token, you can also paste your question in the chat and we will, David will ask it on your behalf.
I see somebody asked, does the credit or no credit affect your GPA? And I believe that's a no, but for purposes of candidacy, we do use like the credit as the C, just so you know, but it doesn't impact your GPA or your transcript.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Well, January 24th is the deadline, correct?
Yes.
I just looked it up. It happens to be a Sunday.
Yeah, so we purposely kept it as Sunday because CUNY is giving 20 days, not business days, but we wanted to extend it. So even though it's a Sunday, we are giving extra days to the students, despite what CUNY is actually putting for other colleges.
Because remember, you're opting in through CUNY first, so it's an electronic process. So you could do it on a Sunday.
Absolutely, yeah. Can I also expand on what Dr. Phil just said about the GPA? Yeah, credit, no credit don't count towards your GPA. But if you opt in for credit, you do earn the credits. You do earn the credits if you opt in for credit option. So just keep that in mind.
Kayla, I see that you have your hands up.
Yeah, so whoever is in the undergraduate program, no matter what major, is eligible for the credit. It's no credit grading policy, right?
Right, everyone is included. There's no exclusions. So if you're ASAP, College Discovery, which the directors are here, if you are in the high school program, transitioning, everyone is included. International students, there's no exclusions, all programs. It's just as, Professor Gimbert mentioned, that depending if you're going for a health science program, if you opt in and you get a credit, it'll be evaluated and viewed as a C. That's the only difference, but everyone is included.
Okay, thank you.
And I wanted to respond to two questions that were posed, and it would have been too much for me to type in. So there was one question by Lena: will it affect my chances to get accepted into a grad program in the FUSE? Maybe future, I'm not sure what FUSE is, but I would recommend that you look at that college or institution that you're planning to go to graduate school to see what are their, how are they evaluating it? Because each school will be looking at it differently. There were standard practices for spring, but there might be differences for fall 2020. So it's in your best interest to look at that institution. I mean, there was a similar question by Mady about would it affect your CUNY transfers for STEM students? CUNY has stated that they're allowing the transfers for programs, so you could go to another CUNY and it would not impact. However, if you're looking for STEM, for example, City College, specifically for the Grove School of Engineering, you should reach out to the engineering program to see, because similar to our health science here, they may have specific requirements for entrance there. So talk to your advisor, talk to the transfer office, and contact the Grove School if that's what you're referring to. And I haven't looked at the rest of the chat, but that's where I'm gonna.
And I see Stacy Wong And Zion Me is asking about nursing. My major is nursing. If I receive a grade of B minus. So, so Stacy Wong's question was, can you repeat a nursing course? So we can answer in both phases. If you're a preclinical student, you can repeat a course, but remember, your 2 grades would be averaged. So if you got a credit grade and you took it again, the C would average with an A to a B. But as Burhan Siddiqui said, if you fail a course and you got a no credit, you can retake the course and the no credit does not count against, which is, which is helpful. And then if you're in the nursing program though, if you're a clinical student or any of those clinical, like, so if you're actually going to the hospital, if you're in that phase, you can usually retake a course only once. We have like a progression policy. Again, you can't be in these programs for more than 3 years. So we have to have a policy where you have to finish in a certain time frame once you started your first clinical course to your last. So, oh, and Z1 Me, you had another question about, for example, my major is nursing. What should I do if I got a B minus? Honestly, we always recommend that you should take the grade because if you take a credit grade, you will get a C. And because you're passing, you can't take a no credit.
I'm going to just add a few more sentences to that, Dr. Phil, with your permission.
No problem. Please do, Burhan.
Right. If you're a nursing student, you don't even have the option to opt in. You're already in the program. You're not going to be able to opt in. Let me make it clear. If a health science student, it does not matter you're nursing, OTA, PTA, vet tech, red tech. If you're in those programs and you're already in the major, you're taking your major courses, you do not have the option to opt in. Let me repeat that. If you're in the health science program, you're already in the major, meaning you've through the candidacy phase. Now you're in the program, you're in actual major, taking your major courses, you do not have the option to opt in. Your courses are excluded. You have to take the grade you're earning in the class. So do not stop attending your classes. Do not think that you will be able to opt in and you cannot take you must take the final exam. You must take your grade. If you're already in a health science program, you will not have the option to opt in. Your courses are excluded. The students in the candidacy phase right now, the students who are taking English, math, or science course or psychology course to get into the health science program, and you earn a grade of C minus or lower, it is recommended that you opt in. If your grade is higher than C, and you're in the candidacy phase, higher than C, my recommendation to you, do not opt in. Take your grade because it is already higher than C.
Thank you, Burhan. Tamin, I don't know if I'm calling you correctly, your name, but please unmute yourself and ask your question. I see that your hand is up.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Sorry, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, my question was that, like, if I take a CR credit for a particular subject, and then can I repeat that course again or no?
Tamim, you're an international student, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Daniel, would you please answer?
F1 students are allowed to opt in credit or non-credit because the only mandate for those students is to get a letter grade from A to F. So it's a decision on the students to go academically either way. But for F1 students, they have no problem. The only problem F1 students have is they get a W grade, and that grade cannot be opt into credit or non-credit. So the decision is more academically than really as an F1 student.
Okay, one more last question. If I opt CR for my major classes, like for example, calculus, which is like very important for my major, and if I want to transfer that credits to some other college, will that be an issue?
Okay, so CUNY to CUNY, the grades will transfer as credit. Remember, all CUNY colleges are going to honor the policy because this policy is CUNY-wide. It's not just for LaGuardia or for any other specific college. It is for the entire CUNY. If you opt in for a credit grade at LaGuardia, it will transfer. Now, whether that credit grade, will go into your specific major, that's a question you're gonna have to ask from that college where you intend to transfer. Like LaGuardia, in the health science programs, we have a policy of having a certain GPA or earning a certain grade to be in the program, in the specialized program. If you're planning to go into a specialized program to City College or Queens College or Brooklyn College or any other college, you may want to check with that program there. If it is a specialized program, like you mentioned, electrical engineering or mechanical engineering, if you have a college in your mind where you intend to transfer, you should check with the admission office there, or if they have advisors there to make sure that the credit will go into your program. It should go into your program.
Yeah.
Whether they will count it towards your specialized program or not, that's a question you should be asking them.
Okay, thank you so much.
Farhan, I don't know if you addressed this. There was a question in here, if a class can be repeated if the person received the CR credit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. CR and NC grades, students will be able to retake, yes.
And Vanessa, I think that it will be good for you to repeat the last answer that you gave related to if I get a B, is it worth taking a credit? I think it will be good to mention it. Why not?
So if you are getting a B, I would not recommend opting for credit. I would recommend keeping your grade. A and A minus is automatically you're unable to opt in. If you have a B, a B plus, B, and maybe even a B minus, I would not recommend it. C, you should speak to your advisor.
Thank you, Vanessa. Orlin, you can unmute yourself and post your question.
Yes, I asked this in the chat, but I'm not sure if anybody saw this, but I asked if I did the credit, no credit last semester, and I were to do that for one class again, like the same class this semester, how would it affect me? Also, in what case would you do credit for a class instead of an actual grade? Because I'm confused on that part.
So go
Yeah,
ahead,
go ahead,
Brian,
I'm
yes.
sorry.
No, I just wanted to clarify. So the first part of the question is, if you selected no credit for a class in the spring and you're considering selecting no credit again for the fall, what will be the implication? Is that the question?
So
Yes.
Orlin, I was also going to ask an explanation actually, Orlin. So let me ask you this. You mentioned you opted in already for the course last semester. You're retaking the course now in this semester, and you're probably planning to opt in again. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now your question was whether you will be able to retake that course again the third time in the next semester. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, you will. You can retake that course again over.
Because I'm just wondering in case if I failed the course, I'm not too sure yet, but I want to put that question out there just to.
Regardless of what grade, let's say you get a D minus or you get an F and you want to opt in for the policy. With a D minus, you will be opting in for CR grade, right? And then if you want to retake it next semester, you will be able to retake it. Let's now say that you get an F. You opted in for NC grade. You want to retake it next semester. Yes, you will be able to retake it.
Orlin, I just want to interject and state, I don't know what your future goals are, but it's important that you connect with an advisor because as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, whatever your future goals are, if it's to graduate school or transferring to another campus, you need to make sure that you understand their policies. Because although it's being granted at LaGuardia, we do not want to impact your future goals. So I recommend you speak to an advisor or a transfer person and have that thorough conversation, because whatever decisions you make now can impact your future.
I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry, Vanessa, if you're done. Jonathan Jimenez posted a question that he's trying to go in CUNY first and trying to opt in or looking for the opt-in option. Please, everyone, please remember this. The opt-in option is not open yet. The opt-in option is going to open on December 23rd. After all your grades are in, it is not available yet. It will be available to you on December 23rd. From December 23rd to January 24th, 2021. You will have this option. So please try not to go there and look for the option right now.
And Berhan, I'm sharing the screen capture. Well, it will appear, so everybody knows where to look for it after December 23rd.
Gail, you have a question that you're best suited to answer. The student's asking if you have to retake a course because you opt in, does it affect your financial aid for next semester?
So on the federal aid side, any course where you opt in for no credit has been excluded from the calculation of your academic progress. So it will not count. We will not use the courses for any that you select with a no credit option. So yes, you can retake the course.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any question that would like to open their mic and ask at the moment?
I do. My name is Jared Hollingsworth.
Hi, Jared.
All right. I'm taking accounting 101, and right now my grade for the class is a 64, but I know I need to see a better for it to transfer over to another school. If I opt in for the credit for the class, how does that affect me transferring?
So Jared, is that a CUNY school where you're planning to transfer or outside
Yes.
CUNY? If it is CUNY, it will transfer and count. If let's say if it is Baruch that you're planning to transfer, right?
Yeah.
You should send that question to them. They must honor your credit grade. They will transfer it. Now, whether they will count it towards your major there is a question you should be asking from Baruch.
Okay.
All right. But it should transfer. It should transfer as an elective maybe. But again, whether it will count towards your major as fulfilling the requirement to your major at Baruch, that is the question you should be asking Baruch, that I'm opting in for CR. Are you going to honor it into my major at Baruch when I transfer there?
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Does anybody else have any question in the chat that I have missed, or want to ask another question through the mic?
Yes, I have a question. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Ashley, please go ahead.
So what happens if you, because I'm scared that this might happen to me. What happens if you fail all your classes? Can you do the program for all your classes or no?
You could opt in for all of your classes if that is what you wish, and you could re-enroll for all of those same classes again. And if you want to confirm, you could speak with your advisor, but I just want to repeat again, you could select one, some, or all for the opt-in process.
All right, thank you.
Does anybody else have any other question?
I do. How is this going to affect, like, if we do the credit, no credit, how does it affect our GPA overall?
It does not affect or impact your GPA. Remember, if you're opting in for a credit, right? Credit option, you're only earning credits. You're not earning a GPA. If your grade was an F and you opted in for NC, again, you're not earning credits. You're only opting in for NC grade, and you will be able to retake that course and then earn the GPA in the future semester. But with credit, no credit, you're not earning GPA. So it does not impact your GPA at all.
So what if like last semester we did we didn't do the credit no credit option, and then this semester we want to do for like a few of our classes a credit no credit?
Yeah, I mean, it was the same last semester when students opted in for credit, no credit last semester. There was no impact on their GPA. It is the same this time. There will be no impact on your GPA. Whether you opt in for credit or no credit, there should be no impact on your GPA.
So will our GPA stay the same as it is like last
Your
semester?
GPA, yeah, your GPA, let's say you were taking 2 classes. In one class, you had a B. In another class, you had a D minus. So for D minus, a student opted in for credit, no GPA for D minus when they opted in for credit. A B will reflect a 3.0 GPA. So the 3-point GPA will stay. So the reflection of your GPA, overall GPA will be 3.0 because the B is equal to a 3.0. The D minus is gone now with the credit option, right? So the D minus will have the D minus that is now CR has no GPA associated with it. So the B that stays on your transcript will reflect the GPA of 3.0. I hope that you understand what I'm trying to say.
I understand that. So like let's say like, okay, so let's say I have like a 3.0 right now, and then some
Right.
of my classes I do like, a credit option. And then like for one of them, if I get a B in that class, then that would just maintain my 3.0.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Berham,
Go ahead, Daniel.
I have a question. Because this affects my students. If a student is already in probation for the spring semester, has not been dismissed from the school, and they took the option of non-credit. Now, in the fall semester, they decided to do the same option, so the probation state doesn't move to dismiss. It will stay in probation as many semesters the student is taking the non-credit. Is that really the story here?
I'm glad, Daniel, you asked this question. So LaGuardia decided that we are not going to dismiss any students for fall 2020. We did not dismiss any student for spring 2020 because of credit, no credit policy. So we are keeping the same policy for fall 2020 semester as well. We will not be dismissing any students, but if a student goes on probation, yes, the probation will be there, but no student will be dismissed for fall 2020.
Just a note for the F1 students.
All students, all.
No, right. I just want to give a note because if an F1 student is below 2.0, even if not in probation, I have the right to terminate the student. So they shouldn't rely on the academic side only, because the federal rule says you have to be going forward, not stay. So that's a different rule for them, but they have to be aware of that they shouldn't rely only on the academic. It has to rely on my side too.
Oh, I see. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, because they could be
So
terminated.
you're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Academically, the student is not going to be dismissed, but a student could be terminated from your program based on their progress, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you both for that clarification. Tamin, do you have any other question?
Hi, Ramon, this is Gail. I want to
Hi, Gail.
respond to a few questions that I see in the chat. So students were asking if the credit, no credit option negatively affects them or in the future. And so I want to say, if a student chooses to select the no credit or the credit option for one course or all of their courses, whether it's one or all, those courses are excluded from the academic progress calculation for financial aid purposes. So for example, if in spring 20, you took 4 classes and you opted in for no credit, we excluded the spring semester entirely from the calculation for academic progress. If you choose to do so in the fall 20 semester, we are doing the same calculation as we did for spring. This, however, only applies to federal aid. I cannot speak at this time for the state. New York State is still pending whether or not they will extend that exclusion for fall 20. So for students who have specific questions regarding whether it is one course this semester or all of their courses, I would suggest that they visit our virtual office or send us an email so that we can respond directly to their particular situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Tamin, I see your hands up. I just want to make sure that you don't have
Yeah.
another question. Okay.
Yeah, just the last question. Just wanted to confirm for the last time that if I take the credit option and planning to transfer to any of the CUNY colleges, they would accept it, right? My grades.
They'll accept the credits. However, you need to consult with the program to see if you are abiding by the policies. Again, as described by Burhan earlier with an example for Baruch, Baruch will accept the credit. However, you need to verify with the particular program that you want to go into if they will accept it or if you would need to repeat the course.
And Linnea Redfern asks if the CR will not count in as academic progress.
So there are two academic progresses, keep in mind. One is academic progress towards your degree, meaning you're completing your degree, you're earning credits. Once you have 60 credits earned, you graduate. Yes, the credit will apply towards the completion of your degree. The other academic progress was Dr. Gail Bucks-Jarrett actually mentioned. It's called financial aid academic progress. That's a question I will defer to the financial aid director. But for your academic progress towards the completion of your degree, yes, a credit counts, a CR will count towards the completion of your degree.
This is Gail again in regards to counting the credit or not for academic progress purposes. It is different based on the financial aid program. And it is calculated at the end of each term for state aid programs such as TAP, but for federal aid, it is calculated once a year at the end of the spring semester. So the calculation that was done at the end of the spring 20 semester is what is currently in effect for fall 20 and spring 21.
All right, thank you, Gail. Orlin, I see your hand up again.
Yes. So about the no credit again, how will it affect financial aid if I were to do it again?
Hi,
That was in addition to my question.
This is Gail again. Financial aid, as I previously stated, it's based on programs. The federal programs have a different policy versus the state programs. There are different criteria that is used for each of the financial aid programs. So it is not a one size fit all for all aid programs. And for students who are inquiring about the impact of the no credit policy on their financial aid, I really urge you to please visit our virtual office to speak with a financial aid representative or send an email that a staff member can respond to privately to your account.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gail.
So I'll just quickly clarify, sorry, Ramon. You can apply the credit, non-credit to one, all, or none of the classes, right? You can pick which ones. It can be a combination depending on your exact situation, etc. And then the other thing, a lot of people were asking what the deadline is. Your grade should be posted by December 23rd, and you will be able to opt into the credit, no credit until January 24th via CUNY First.
I'm sorry, Rose, I'm gonna just make a slight correction. So all grades will be posted by December 22nd. All grades will be posted by December 22nd. The students will have the option for credit, no credit available on December 23rd, the next day. And from December 23rd to January 24th, the students will have the option to opt in. We have to wait for all the grades to come in to open up the policy or to open up the option for credit, no credit. So remember, December 23rd is when the credit, no credit will be available to the students to start opting in, and it will close on January 24th.
Thank you, Verhan. Phil, I see that you're going to answer something for a student.
I have, there were two students had a similar question, Zhu Yin and Ashley, and they were asking about basically like a C or a C plus. And correct me if I'm wrong, Barhan, but if you take the C as it is, you can't retake the course, right? But if you take the credit, you can retake the course. Am I right, Barhan?
Correct. So I think Ashley's question is a specific
C, and you feel like it'll put you in a better way. If you think you could take it again and get an A, you could. But we're recommending you take the C generally. But if you feel like you would take it again, or even if you got a C plus, like somebody said as well, if you take the credit, we're going to just count it as a C. But you could take it again, technically. If you take your actual grade, the grade sticks what it is. So if you got a C plus, it's better than a C, better to take for that case. But if you wanted to take it again, take the credit. Am I right there, Burhan?
No, you're absolutely correct. So I think Ashley's question is in regards to a bio class. And most likely it seems with her question that she's expecting a C plus. So her question is whether she should opt in and then retake the course. Now here is the catch. If you're going in a health science program, like Dr. Phil just said, and you're getting a C plus, you're gonna opt in for CR grade with a C plus, and then you retake the course in the next semester, you get an A. Yes, it could help you because it will bump your overall average in 2 classes to a B. But if it is anything less than an A when you retake the course in the next semester, I don't think it will help you. It has to be an A in the retake to bring up your average in the 2 courses to at least a B.
So it could help you, but it might not if you get a worse grade again. So it's very tricky.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Ashley. Yeah.
So the only reason I wanted to do the credit and no credit is that it's going to affect my GPA, her giving me the C plus. Sure. So I have all my grades that they're an A. So if she gives me that C plus, my GPA is going to drop significantly. That's why I wanted to use the credit and no credit.
That's a good point.
So my GPA won't get affected. I mean, I'm not going to take the course again because I passed, but I just don't want it to reflect on my GPA because I graduate in June. And the college that I want to go to, I have to keep my GPA at a certain level.
So you're not in the health science major, Ashley? Ashley, what is your major?
Psychology, but I'm changing it. I'm not, when I transfer, I'm not going with that. No,
that's fine. So honestly, if you're in a psychology major and your intention is to transfer to a school and that school needs you to have a certain grade in the bio course, it might be in your favor to opt in and then retake the course and try to get a higher grade so you can transfer the higher grade. Vanessa, am I correct? Maybe you can jump in here.
Yeah, I wanted to say that this is a town hall and it's an open forum, and so we're trying to answer things as generically as possible. But things like that are very specific that can have an impact. Like we're talking a lot about the health sciences and how the grades may be counted as a C if you do a CR, but in your case, it's different. So if you want to really get into the particulars about your major and how this impacts you, on Tuesdays, we do have the virtual drop-ins that you can, you don't have to make an appointment to meet with an advisor. You could go to our website and I'll put it in the chat, and you can meet with an advisor and speak about your particular questions as it pertains to your major and such. But right, I mean, if you are a psychology major and you're about to graduate and you want to keep your GPA, then yes, take the credit so that it doesn't have that impact as you were mentioning. But again, we're speaking very generically and we're trying to do our best because this is a video and we are going to broadcast it widely. But at the end of the day, please reach out to an advisor to provide you with your individualized discussion and provide you with the best guidance. Again, if it's ASAP, if it's college discovery, PTI, or just student advising services.
Thank
And
you.
actually, it's Julianne's here, and so we can touch base offline about your particular situation.
Oh, hi, Julian. Okay.
I also see that Berhan wants to answer a question from the chat.
Yes, thank you, Ramon. So a student posted a question that the student might receive 2A. So I'm going to hypothetical here. Let's say a student is taking 4 classes. In 2 of the classes, the student is expecting A grades, right? In 2 classes, 2 A's. The other 2 classes, the student is expecting maybe a C or D or a B minus. Now the student is thinking, should I, obviously you're gonna keep your A's. You don't have the option for A's to opt in. But the other 2 grades you earn in the other 2 classes, and they happen to be a C minus or D. And you wanna opt in, you can opt in. Your GPA will reflect your overall GPA for this term will reflect your GPA for the A grades, meaning your GPA will exactly be 4.0 because you have 2 A's. For the other 2 courses, you opted in for credit grade. And like I said, with credit grade, there is no GPA associated. So your GPA will reflect your GPA for the term with the A grades, which will be 4.0. I hope that answers your question, Everett.
Does Tammy, I also see your hands up again. Do you have another question?
Yeah, it's the continuation question of my previous one, like how ma'am, she said that if I want to transfer, for example, like Baruch College, and if they say that I need to repeat that course, so can I repeat in the LaGuardia itself and then transfer, or I have to repeat over there itself?
So Tamim, that will be your choice. If you stay here for 1 more semester, you can retake it here. But if you transfer or you graduate and you transfer to Baruch, then you will have to take it at Baruch. Keep in mind, the students who transfer, meaning they graduate and they transfer to a 4-year college within CUNY, they also have another option to take a course here on e-permit. But there is a caveat to this. A lot of 4-year colleges do not allow their students to go back to a 2-year school on e-permit and take a course there, because they want their students to take their major classes at that campus. Because major core classes are specific to your major, and they want the students to take those classes at that campus. So they might not allow you to come back here on e-permit, or they might. It is totally up to them. You're gonna have to check with them. Okay, if I graduate, I come to your college as a graduate student, will I be able to go back on e-permit at LaGuardia and take the course there?
All right,
so that's a question you should be posing to Baruch if you're intending to transfer to Baruch, okay?
Yeah, sure, definitely check with them. Thank you so much.
All right.
Berham.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Yes, something I have noticed this semester for the students who are transitioning to a 4-year college, because for us, they have to give us a copy of the admission letter from the 4-year school, where there is an indication, the requirements they need for the students to be they're provisionally accepted into the four-year colleges to the engineering program, City College. The letter specifically indicates that you need a letter grade. So I don't know what is this understanding with the four-year colleges with the credit, no credit, but my assumption is it should be on the letter saying that the non-credit credit is acceptable, but they're asking for these particular classes with a letter grade. So that could be a confusion for the students that they're applying to a four-year school within CUNY, and suddenly maybe the policy is changing in those professional schools. So just for you to see what is in real life, sometimes it's different than the policy on paper, you know.
Ramon, if I can
Yes,
just
Bart.
add on, hi all, to address Tamim's question a little bit and Everett's question that posted in the chat. Credit courses are fully transferable within CUNY. They are not allowed to be used against a student. That is the blanket CUNY policy. But if you were to repeat a credit course, and I'm going to ask Gail to weigh in here from Student Financial Services, if you were to repeat a credit course at the same institution, so you take the class here, you get a credit, you take it for credit, and then you try to repeat it again here, I do not believe you would be eligible for financial aid the second time for that course because you would have already received passing credit for the course. It would be different for an NC course, but it would, but you would not get aid the second time for a credit course if you're repeating it. Gail, is that correct?
That is correct, but it also depends on whether it's a federal aid program or a state aid program. There are different rules. But basically, yes, if financial aid has paid for a course previously and the student received credit or a passing grade, that is counted. If the student can repeat the course, however, financial aid will not pay for that course, but it will count the course as an attempt towards their completion in terms of academic progress. So the course is being counted again for academic progress, but aid will not pay for that course.
So generally speaking, it's probably, and this is, and you know, you're going to want to have more specific conversations, but I would not recommend taking a course for credit and then repeating it at the same institution unless somebody has explicitly told you at the next institution that you have to do that. If they need the course repeated, they may ask you to repeat it and you can do it at their institution. Once you have made that transfer or you made that change, or even, you know, if we're talking about graduate school down the road, if somebody says you need a particular grade for a particular prerequisite course, they will allow you the opportunity to take that prerequisite course at that time. I would not do it in advance of that particular thing necessarily, because it may not be the case. There's going to be a lot of application of policy as we move forward from this within and with, you know, outside of CUNY.
All right. So does anybody else have any other question? I see hands up. Can you please state your name and the question?
Hi, good morning. Good afternoon. My name is Vanessa. I am a health science major trying to get into the nursing program, either here in LaGuardia or just transferring out to four-year. I had a few issues this semester where I wasn't able to focus. I work at the hospital, so I wasn't able to really focus on the two classes that I have. So I spoke to my professors. They told me I should try and get no credit. I just want to know how that would affect any plans that I have to see if I can apply to the nursing program or to transfer out to a four-year and doing it that way as far as getting the nursing degree.
Well, at LaGuardia, if you get a no credit, we don't use that for your calculation. You just have to retake the course because it's basically like an F. But the good part is we don't factor that into the calculation for candidacy.
Okay.
So you could take the no credit. It's a good idea. As I think you might have missed the beginning, but Burhan said, if you're getting enough, take the no credit if you're a health science student.
Okay, yeah, I just got on a few minutes ago. Sorry, I'm at work.
Now, if you transfer to a private four-year college, they might look at it differently, but CUNY, LaGuardia, and the other CUNY shouldn't look at it in a negative way if you took a no credit. I mean, of course you don't want to have, I mean, eventually they'll say if you got so many no credits, colleges might make policies just for time's sake, but it shouldn't affect it for, it won't affect it for LaGuardia, shouldn't affect it for the CUNYs. Private colleges, we don't know. You'll have to ask them.
Okay, so as far as I would finish my degree in LaGuardia, this would be the only time that I would need this flexible grading, but would that affect me going, let's say, I'd prefer to go transfer to a 4-year CUNY. So would that be an easier transition as opposed to transferring to a private school?
Yeah, I
Would
mean,
that affect
the
it?
CUNY, believe it or not, CUNY nursing programs are more competitive than private schools because they're
Right.
cheaper and they're faster. But the no credit should not negatively impact your admission. So you're gonna have to retake this course.
Right.
But just
Okay.
remember, whatever course you take, and this is for everyone, if you're a preclinical or whatever major you're in, but especially health sciences, get the best grades you can right now, because when you go lower, get a credit, no credit, everything does eventually catch up with you. So I always just say, try and get the best grade you can right now.
One more question, I'm sorry. Now, as far as would I need to wait until this semester finishes? Because I've been trying to register for classes in March in the spring semester in both sessions to retake the 2 classes that I'm trying to get a no credit for. But it's not letting me. Do I need to wait until afterwards?
So your
semester
grades are
ends?
not posted yet.
Right.
Your grades are not there. So the system will not allow you to enroll in the same course unless the grade is there. Even if the grade is there and you have any trouble registering for a class that you want to retake, please email registrar@lagcc.cuny.edu and we will help you register for the class. That email address is going to be also available on the Credit No Credit webpage that we have created. And Dr. Ramon is going to share the link of that webpage because it is live right now. A lot of the questions that students are asking us right here, right now, they have the answers there because we have a Q&A on the website explaining everything in detail. And specifically, Vanessa, the question you asked about the health science program, there are a lot of questions that are being answered there with question and answer on that web page. So you'll be able to find a lot of information on that page that is extremely important in case if you want to go back and revisit if you have any further questions. And you can shoot your questions to us because we have provided the contact information there. You can also utilize that contact information to reach out to us to help you register for the classes that you're trying to register. But wait for your grades to come in, please.
Okay, thank you so much.
And
No
I have
problem.
also pasted the link that Berhan was referring to in the chat.
Now, I had a question, I'm sorry, with your permission, Dr. Ramon, may I please?
Sure. Actually, I
Orlin
noticed you were going to answer a question, so go
Yeah,
ahead.
Orlin actually posted the question about in what cases or what do you do, when do you do the credit option instead of an actual grade? I would let actually Vanessa answer that question because a lot of it actually has to be consulting, meaning consult with your advisor. It will depend on the circumstances you are in most cases. Trust me when I say that. So I'll defer it to Vanessa Gonzalez, and she will
Can you
be able
repeat the question here? I'm sorry, I have a screaming child that's
Okay,
trying to go
so
outside.
the question was, in what case would you do the credit for a class instead of an actual grade?
I would recommend doing a credit for an actual class that you have maybe less than a C. A C you may want to consider, D minus definitely. I'm sorry, she's screaming in the background. But I would say default and talk to your advisor. I'll continue writing in the chat because she's distracting. I'm sorry, but please visit our website. On Tuesday, we have virtual walk-in hours and we could address your specific question then.
Thank you, Vanessa. Does anybody else want to ask a question to the panelists? Is there any other question that hasn't been answered in the chat?
I just want to mention, if you're ASAP student, College Discovery, or PTI, please reach out to your individual advisor. The link that I just shared is for anybody who's assigned to student advising services.
Thank you, Vanessa.
While we take the question, I know some students came in late after we started the session. I'm going to just say one statement which is true for all the students. Any student who's hearing this, in case you earn an F in any of your classes, regardless of your major, regardless of the program you're in, and if your grade is an F, don't ask, don't think about it. Go in on December 23rd or after, opt in for NC grade. If your grade is an F, do not think, do not ask anyone. Go in and opt in for NC grade. It is in your favor, financially and academically, both. If you have financial aid or you're pursuing any major, regardless of which major you're in, do not even think. If you have an F, opt in for NC grade right away.
Hi, this is Gail. I want to add to what Burhan says. If it's an F, financial aid would have paid for that course. So if you choose the option that Burhan just mentioned, it would count as a no credit, and so it would be excluded. However, if you choose to repeat the F and not select the no credit option, in this situation, financial will pay for it because F is not a passing grade, and that's the only exception.
Thank you, Gail.
Ramon?
Yes.
If I can answer a question from Everett that I think is relevant to
Actually, I was going to post her question too. Go ahead.
So Everett is asking if the as far as transfer credit goes, how will, what does a credit come in, how does that work? And the answer is there's absolutely no way for anyone to distinguish between a D- or a B+ or anything in between if you have opted for credit. That's the point. One of the most important things about credit, no credit to remember here is that credit, no credit was specifically implemented and designed to help students. It's not supposed to be punitive in any way. In fact, it is to reflect the reality that we're dealing with, certainly as a country, but as a city. Things are weird right now. Things are not normal. So if you need to take credit, no credit, then by all means, ask those questions and look hard at that. It should not be something to be afraid of. When you transfer, if you have a D in a class and you take the credit, no credit option, you'll have credit and it will transfer, period, full stop. It has to transfer within CUNY. Outside of CUNY, they may have other policies, but I'll be honest with you, it would be a rare college right now that it's going to fight that particular fight outside. Enrollment numbers are down all over the place, so they have to be realistic. But also, the colleges that are hard to transfer credits into now will be hard to transfer credit into later. For most of the schools that are working with transfer students, they're going to be very flexible on credit grades because they're going to see that it's a CUNY-wide policy. So again, I would not let that be a particular concern. Again, specific programs and prerequisites, it may come up, as with nursing and those kinds of programs, but don't be afraid of credit just as far as transfer goes. It has to move within CUNY by policy. So.
Thank you, Bar.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else have any question? Sujan is asking if today is the day for answer a question, or if we're going to have an advisor, their advisor can answer a question. We will be open during the upcoming weeks. We're open during regular hours with the exception of the holidays and the holiday dates. But please reach out to your advisors. I'm going to be sharing right now on the screen how you can reach out to all the different offices that can provide services to you, or answer some of your questions related to the credit or no credit, or any questions related to registration. So please take a photo of this information And at the bottom of the screen, you also will see the link that I also posted in the chat with all the Q&As related to the policy, credit or no credit, so that you can also go over that if you have any other question. If you have, if you're College Discovery, if you're ASA, PTI, reach out to your assigned advisor, similar to student services. As well, reach out to your assigned advisors through My LaGuardia. Do we have any final question before we wrap the session? I'll stay here if any student want to have any final question. All right, I guess that if we don't have any other questions, I want to thank everybody for their participation, all the panelists for coming and joining us to answer all the questions from the student for coming and have the curiosity to ask questions and engage in this conversation. We appreciate that you took the time to do that. We wish you the best in your finals. Also, stay safe during the holidays, and we're looking forward to seeing you during session 2, fall session 2, and also in the spring semester. So thank you once again and happy holidays.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone. This gesture is something that I think a lot of students will need, considering the impact it had on them and the technology issues that they might incur during this process, because it's difficult, especially if you just have a laptop and you have intermittent internet connections and whatnot. It really does help. I'm not saying that it affects me in that way, but I'm just voicing my opinion based on some experiences that I have heard. So it's a great step forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Everett. We appreciate your feedback. We also understand this has been a really difficult year for everybody. And I know that when it has come to education, we also have to raise to the occasion and face a lot of challenges. So thank you for sharing your opinion regarding to this.
You're welcome. Happy holidays to all. Thank you.
Happy holidays.